Thank you, Brutal Game Gear, for sponsoring this video. Hello, everybody. This is Chris Wilmuth, and you're watching another episode of the Pulling Around Show. Today, we're back with Mr. Austin Hill, but got a little different scenario for you now than we had with the first interview. Austin went and joined the Army. Austin, man, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, how you doing, Chris?
Good, doing good. We tried this last week and I failed miserably, so we're gonna try it again.
Yeah.
So you joined the Army.
Yeah. So when I did the interview with you last year, it was around September, right? That was with you and Sean.
Yeah.
That was for the 2013 ICCSQ show. That interview was more cue making focused. Since then, I've quit making cues, and like you said, I joined the Army. So I went through basic training back in January and February. I arrived in Oklahoma for AIT in March, and I've been training here since. I've since graduated, and I'll be heading overseas soon. So I haven't played pool or made any cues or anything in quite some time. I guess my life has changed, but
well,
it's a new adventure.
It has changed some, but you're still getting involved in the pool world, and you've made a pretty good splash there at Fort where you're at now. Let us know. I mean, let them know what you're up to or what you've done since you've been there.
Yeah. So some people, including yourself and all your viewers, I'm sure, have followed my Facebook page, and I've been posting updates on there. And a lot of people in the local Lawton and Fort Sill and Oklahoma area have been involved, especially. But the way I've kind of carried my prior experience over into my new military career is more through pool tables and pool cues. So when I arrived at Fort Sill here for training, our barracks had a pool table that was in just horrible, terrible condition, used and abused 15 years. It just really wasn't even playable. So I didn't even plan on it. But I got the idea one day that, I could use my prior experience of recovering tables and that sort of thing to donate my time and recover the table and, have it in better condition so it could actually be enjoyed and some of the troops could play the game of pool.
Right.
The only issue is being on base, I had no tools or anything. So I made a post on, I believe it was Lawton area pool players, correct?
Lawton pool players, yeah.
Yeah, and I asked for any local table mechanics that would maybe be willing to come on base and help me and let me borrow their tools to do the job, right? And I called some friends and I got some cloth donated, and I was going to just put it on myself. I posted the pictures of that table on Facebook, and those were my intentions. However, the pool community got together and kind of started something amazing. And they were upset about the condition of the table and thought that the young troops deserve something better to enjoy their time on. And that's what happened. Joseph Ostraka from OKC, he shared the post a bunch. He really put it out there. All kinds of people got involved. Some people made some financial donations. Some people sent photos of the table in the post to manufacturers and cue companies and just me, along with everybody that was involved on Facebook, was doing everything they could to get this table situation fixed. And it turned out way better than we ever could have imagined.
So what, tell them what table manufacturer stepped up and did something?
Yes. So the three main people that really played the biggest part in all of this was Olhausen Billiards, who supplied one brand new 8-foot tournament series table, brand spanking new right out of the box, delivered right from Portland, Tennessee. They also provided an entire refurbished kit to fix up a current pool table that was here that was in bad shape and all the parts and everything necessary to do that. So that was thanks to Dan Berger, who's the owner of Olhausen Billiards, Olhausen Billiards' son, Colby Olhausen, and then their customer service representative, Ann. Those are the main three I worked with, and they, it was a lot. I want to say it was about $12,000 retail worth of product that they donated. Now they are in Tennessee, obviously, so I want to give another shout out to One Billiards out of Arrowhead or Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. So Josh, the owner, and his partner and employee, John, they drove over 3 hours to Lawton here to deliver and set up those tables, which was a big hassle and a lot of time. And they did it all completely out of the kindness of their heart and their own pocket. And they are also a big Olhausen dealer and friends with the Olhausen family. So that's part of the reason they did it as well, too. But they were super awesome. They delivered the table, set it up super fast. They did a great job. I posted all kinds of pictures in the post I made on Facebook. So I'm sure some people have seen that. And if they haven't, you could probably post a link to that post in the description of the video.
Right.
But it turned out better than we ever could have imagined. And I'm also, before I leave, I'm working with Josh as well. I think he's going to come back in a couple of weeks, and we're going to fix up a few more pool tables that are on base. There's one at the USO Lounge that a friend of mine from the Midwest, he owns a Midwest Pool Players Association, the MPA. Mm-hmm. His name is John Stitch. He's donating a brand new set of dynamo rails, a full cut of cloth, and he's going to ship all that stuff here. And then I'm going to recover the table at the USO Lounge and work with Josh some more. So I'll post updates, all that too. But that's the impact that I'm trying to make on the pool scene here while I'm in the Army, I guess. So well, that's all I can do for now.
Did any other table manufacturers reach out and offer to help?
No, there was some people that offered or that reached out to Rasson and Diamond, and but I don't think they ever got a response back. But Olhausen was, they're one of the oldest table manufacturers in the United States. They have a whole new line of products now, and they're almost 100% American made, right. And they are very behind anything troop supported. Like I said, their factory is state of the art right in Portland, Tennessee. So they're not getting stuff made in China, and they're very U.S. Sourced.
So guys, when you're ready and looking for another table, you might want to give Olhausen a look. I mean, they stepped up and made a big donation to Fort Sill and to the military. And I will leave a link to their website in the description below. Give them a shot. I mean, they stepped up for them. Y'all could at least return the favor. And they're not a sponsor of this channel by no means.
Yeah, and the Army doesn't represent Olhausen either. I guess I have to speak on behalf of the Army now, but I just want to thank them, and all the troops want to thank them for what they did. We can't necessarily endorse their product, but me being a pool player, they do make a good product, but we just want to thank them. And one more company too, as well, is Stealth Cues. So after the Olhausen tables were delivered and set up and installed, Stealth Cues donated a whole bunch of brand new cues for the troops to use with the new tables. So they donated some just traditional Sneaky Pete's 2-piece house cues, along with some of their ergonomic handle grip cues. And that was all donated by Mark Stroller, who is on Facebook, and he owns and manages Stealth Cues. So that was a big thank you as well to him.
Great job.
And he was a veteran himself. So.
Well, I knew whenever when you posted that link, you hadn't been in Facebook in a few months, and then you posted and asking for a little bit of help, and it just spread like wildfire. And it's amazing, what it's amazing what the word of mouth can do for advertising. It can make you or break you. And in this case,
yeah, there was over 100 comments in a matter of minutes, it seemed like.
So what else is up for Austin? I mean, I know you're at Fort Sill, but I don't know if you can tell people, what your job is going to be, where you're fixing to PCS to, what you can tell and what you can't tell.
Yeah. So I signed a 6-year contract, which is a very, very long time for me, especially to be in working one job or doing one thing. But yeah, I've been so many different places in the last 6 years, following pool around, whether it's visiting Q-maker shops or visiting manufacturers, factories, going to pool tournaments, traveling and gambling, just visiting people I've met through the pool world. I've been to so many different places in 6 years that 6 years seems like forever to me. But I'm going to try to tough it out and serve my contract, and we'll see where it takes me. But I joined as a 14 Tango is my MOS code. So it's a Patriot missile operator and maintainer. So it's a branch of air defense. So basically, if anybody shoots any missiles or any foreign aircrafts or anything flying in the sky, we shoot missiles to take it down.
Right, right.
Nowadays, with all the technology and the drones and all the highly technical guided missiles and stuff, it's one of the most needed jobs in the Army. And I'm going to be going to South Korea pretty soon to do that. So
still don't have a date for that yet.
No, it's I'm not sure yet.
So you got one. So far today, you got one full day of this Oklahoma heat. I mean, it's been brutal. So
99 degrees today, right?
102.
Yeah, I actually it was pretty hot, and I went out and ran 2 miles, which is not super far now that I'm in the Army, but in the 102-degree heat, in the sun with no hair, as you can see now, it was the heat was getting to me, but it was tough. But and I donated a plasma yesterday for an Army blood drive that we had.
Oh, yeah.
So it was especially tough donating blood with the heat and all that. But it was yeah, I felt it today.
All right, so we talked about this story the other day and didn't get it on camera, so we're gonna do it again.
Yeah, that's okay.
So you're in Vegas. COVID hits, everything gets shut down, and you make the best of it.
Yeah, I tried to.
So tell them about that. Tell them about your match with JB.
Yeah, so I know you've been wanting me to tell a story for a while. And I know a big reason of that is because of who John Barton is and being in Oklahoma now that John owns Chester's, and so, and obviously John is a huge social media influencer,
Right.
or icon, or whatever you'd call it. But me and John are good friends now. But the story you're referring to, as you said, it started during COVID, and I was actually at the Rio Casino. They had a tournament there. I want to say it was BCA or something. There was diamond tables there, whichever event it was. And John was set up there with his booth, his JB Case's booth. And I think this was the last time he ever set up a booth, a big full-size booth like he used to. And I heard stories about John Barton. I talked to him on Facebook, AZ Billiards posts. I've had a bunch of his cases and everything, right? But I'd never been to Las Vegas before, and I never seen his booth. I never got to meet him. So I went there and I seen his booth, and I knew who he was off YouTube videos and whatnot. So I just went up and introduced myself. I said, "Hey, you're John Barton, right?" He said, "Yeah. Who are you?" And I said, "Hey, I'm Austin Hill." And he says, "Oh, I know you. You know, he recognized me from Facebook and certain things." So we just had a little friendly chat, and then a customer came up and I let him go on with his business, and I left. A couple days later, COVID hit. He had to shut his booth down, got kicked out of the casino. And at the time, I was living in Las Vegas with Ronnie Wiseman and John Mora and 3 other pool players. And I was the worst pool player in the house. And we got this brand new diamond table in the garage for all of us to play on, since we couldn't go to the pool hall because COVID got shut down.
Right.
So anyway, I started playing a little bit on it, and I recorded myself playing the 5-ball Ghost on Facebook Live. I guess John happened to watch it, right? And I played extremely bad. I didn't have a cue at the time. I wasn't playing. So I played extremely bad, and John watched, right? A couple days later, I was mad that I played so bad. I wanted to keep playing, get the stroke, right? Try to, redeem myself. So John seen how bad I played the day before, a couple days before, and he said, "Hey, I'll come over. I'll play you some cheap sets, $50 sets, and we'll just have a good time and get to know each other." Because I just introduced myself to him the other day. He's like, "You seem like a nice kid. We'll do all this, right?" So he comes over, and he brought all kind of snacks and a cooler full of drinks and his cues, and he bought a tripod to record us. And I was like, "What's the tripod for?" And he's like, "Oh, I want to live stream it and be able to record it, watch myself play and, try to learn from it, see the mistakes I made, this and that." He's like, "You don't mind, do you?" And I said, "No, I don't care. It's fine." So we start playing races of 7 for $50. And John Moore was sitting there watching, and Ronnie Wiseman. We're all just joking around, having a good time, all locked in the house together, right? And John beats me the first few sets. And he starts to live stream now, and people are chiming in and talking about how good he's playing. And at one point or another, got to how he was taking advantage of me because he was beating me so bad. He beat me like 7-0, 7-1, 7-1. And somebody made a comment that, he needed to spot me because it was unfair. So I never asked John for a spot. He offered to spot me based off these Facebook comments. So he gave me like 2 games on the wire race to 7. And he just said, "Hey, I'm going to give you 2 games." I said, "All right, I'm not going to deny it." And he said, "But you want to play for 100?" And I was like, "Sure." I was down 2 or 3 sets or something. So anyway, I beat him that set like, 7-5 or something. And then I beat him the next set. And not one time during our entire match, I don't think I ever asked him for a spot or to raise the bet or to keep playing. It was all kind of him. And rightfully so. Like, he was a working man. He was confused with his business at the time with COVID, what was going to happen. I think he was really stressed out. He had a lot of pressure on him with some of his idols sitting around, right? A couple of the best pool players in the world watching him that he grew up watching play.
Mm-hmm.
I was used to it because I lived with him, but anyway, he kind of went on a little vacation while we were gambling, and he was just enjoying himself playing. And he kind of forgot that we were playing for money, I think, and he just wanted to get away from reality. And we ended up playing for about 2 days in a 110-degree garage in Las Vegas with no air conditioner. It actually got up to about 118.
Fletcher,
Um,
lots of sun and can expect a high of 99 degrees Fahrenheit.
And I was sweating like crazy. One, just because of the heat, but 2, because the heat of us gambling, right, and the pressure. And eventually we kept raising the bet, and I'm having to wipe my forehead between shots, and there's sweat dripping there's puddles of sweat on the table from both of us. And it was just a long, grueling, really crazy match. And we just kept raising the bet, and then we took the spot away, and we were playing even. And then we went from playing races for $50 to playing 500 a game 9-ball. Then we played in a headset, and then by the end of it, with side bets and the bet in the middle and everything, we were playing for about 2,700 a game. And the math works out kind of funny because of all the side bets and the way that we changed the bet so much and changed everything. But at the end of 2 days, I was about 44 games winner, which is a lot. That's 410 head. That's a lot of games to 9-ball winner. But John, lost a decent amount, enough to buy a car.
Right.
Which he has a good income, a good business. JB Case is very successful. He could afford it. And he had the money, but it being COVID, not knowing if he was going to be able to stay in business. He had a house in Las Vegas at the time, right? He kind of talked to me one-on-one like a man, and he said, "I have this money. I lost more than what I should have to you." He explained the circumstances, and he politely asked me, he said, "Do you mind if I wait before I pay you?" Because he wanted to sit on the money to keep his business alive when he couldn't make any sales. And I 100% understood, and he was super cool. And like I said, I have a cool relationship with him. And I told him absolutely, his wife, Lulu, is a super great person as well. I've interacted with her a bunch, not only from that situation, but afterwards, even at the Q show, ICCS Q show at Chester's. I'm not best friends with her, but I've met so many people over the years. I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character. And I know John so well, I can just tell how she is as well. And
Right.
she offered to, sell a vehicle, which was her prized possession that she just bought for herself, and to pay us, which was like super, like, you know, um, amazing that she would offer to do that. Even, very unselfish of her, to offer that in the debt of her spouse. You know what I mean?
Right.
But of course, we told her no, you didn't have to do that. We trusted John, his business, whatever. So he wasn't sure when he was going to pay us, and some chatter happened on Facebook. Right, John has a very controversial group of followers, right, because of his political opinion
Exactly.
and his personality and stuff, right? Which I have some of that as well too. So there was people saying he wasn't going to pay this and that. I was never worried, and John told us he didn't know when he was going to be able to pay us. But sure enough, 2 weeks later, John wrote us a check and paid us. And he paid us every dime he owed. He gave us cases on top. He sold me some cases at wholesale after the fact when he didn't owe me anything. Me and him have went back and forth on Q deals, giving him and some of his employees and friends that are trying to get into Q work and buying and selling Qs. I've helped them out with that, and they've helped me out with certain things. I've been to Chester's a few times since then. Me and John have gambled since then. I've beat him a couple more times, fortunately. Those are those have a story as well, just as funny as the first one, but
Yeah. Love or,
it was a
love
really
or
funny
hate him.
story. So
Yeah. Love or hate him, he's a stand-up guy, and he does what he says he's going to do.
yeah, 100%.
And you've got to respect that.
Mhm.
You have to. Yeah, he goes off the air sometimes.
Mhm.
And he has a tendency to overreact to things, but he other than that, he's a good guy. He's good.
No, yeah, he's just a good guy.
Bull.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this: what is the most that he could have won from you during that?
Well, yeah. So the funny part about it is he told me that he was only going to bring $500, and he told me that that's all he. If I ended up beating him, or whatever, he was only going to lose $500. Um, he's just going to stay friendly, $50 or $100 sets, maybe, whatever, right? I didn't have any money at the time. I was staying in a hotel before I moved into that house, and we spent all our money on the hotel room, and then the pool room shut down. So we paid for the hotel for 2 weeks with no income because we were going to pool hall to make money. And I was sharing a room with an ex-professional pool player from Serbia. His name is Goran. He used to play in the IPT tour. He's a really interesting character. But I couldn't sleep at all. Every night he'd be on the phone with his American phone, right, with his friends, trying to make pool games, talk about how he's going to make money. And then during the middle of the night, he'd be on his Serbian phone talking to his family, watching the news, pacing back and forth, upset about what's going to happen. So I never got any sleep. But so anyway, we spent all our money in the hotel room. So when I moved into the house with John Mora, he was the one staking me. So and most people know John is a very big gambler.
Right.
One, because he's such a good player. Two, because he has so much heart. Like, he's one of the few professional pool players that will bet on himself. Every dollar he has, he'll use it to put himself into a tournament or to fly and pay expenses. John is a lot of things. He's a hard worker. He's a super good pool player. He's got a lot of heart. He's very serious, but he's a big gambler as well. So, I'm not sure how much money he had on him at the time. In Las Vegas, he was kind of in and out of money here and there, gambling, obviously, but I'm sure he could have won probably 5,000. I don't know exactly what John had, but during those days he was playing a lot of roulette, which I don't think he does anymore. He kind of quit gambling at the casino, so which is good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I think he had a bunch of roulette money at the time, so he could have won a lot more than John had. What's funny about it is the 500. We just told John that he could keep it like that night because he owed he owed so much that the 500 really wasn't of much concern at the time.
Right.
So
right.
But yeah, it all worked out. It was fun. It was a good story. I'm glad it happened. Even well, for obvious reasons, but It's just funny sometimes, like gambling, people think that if you beat a guy like that or that situation happens, that you're, the guy's going to hate you and there's going to be some sort of bad blood and malice towards the other person. Like it's been the exact opposite. Like I think it drew me and John closer, and like we have good personal relationship, business relationship. You know, so
Right.
you really get to know a guy when you bear down and you're in 118-degree heat
Yeah.
and you're one on one with them in the same room for 48 hours, just giving everything you got. I mean, you see a lot of nuances in somebody's personality. You see how they act, how they handle certain things. The way they treat themselves, the way they treat you. Like you really get to know somebody in that short amount of time under those circumstances,
Exactly.
especially when you're playing for so much money that matters.
Yeah.
So it kind of brings you, it's a form of bonding,
Right. Right. So when we done the interview the other day, you had a list of people that you wanted to thank for all their help and stuff. And we're back on the pool table stuff. So I don't know if you wanted to do that again or
No, I don't have that list with me right now, but I listed all those names in the post. So if
Right.
people want to follow that link and check out the post, I tried to thank as many people as I could in there.
So-
And there's a few I didn't, but there's so many people that helped. It's amazing. So
and I'll make a little slideshow with those the pictures you sent me of the transformation of the pool tables and the guy setting it up.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll leave the link to Oldhausen in the description, and then which I think One Billiards has got a website or a Facebook page.
They do.
I'll leave a link to that, and then to Stealth Cues, I'll do a link to that. That way y'all can reach out to all them guys and just send them an email if anything, and tell them thanks for what they did.
Yeah.
So what else you got going
on? Nothing as far as I know. Just trying to, I'm focused on doing everything I can in the Army. I don't. For those that know me, most people know I don't have any kids. I'm not married. I didn't do anything much else besides pool, and I didn't have, too much going for me necessarily right before I joined. So fortunately, I can kind of really focus and dive into this, and that's kind of led to, I've only been enlisted 6 months now, but I've had about the best 6 months you could possibly have. Part of that is because, I've gotten a lot of praise from this pool table stuff that y'all have helped with and coordinating that. And they've seen my passion for pool leak out into my work that we're doing every day in the Army, right? Training and stuff. I think I'm just a passionate person, and I notice a lot of little things. I'm very detail oriented. I know how a lot of things work. I understand people very well. So that's all added up to me doing very well. And I've gotten about 5 awards so far, which I think is almost unheard of in 6 months being in the Army. I've gotten promoted twice. I'm like very highly respected by people that are, higher up in the ranks that I've met. But, I credit all of that, like all the skills and knowledge that I have that have allowed me to do that to the pool world. Not only the people that have kind of influenced me traveling and learning to play pool and stuff, but probably more so than anything is the cue making world. Especially the things like the, being methodical and dedicated and attention to detail and knowing that there's a right and wrong way to do everything. The cue making world has really, I think, taught me that. And then some of the cue makers that I'm very good, close friends with, like John Showman and some of the very top cue makers, Joel Hershek, who made a very big donation to the pool stuff as well. And Dennis Syrian and all those guys that make, crazy expensive pool cues, a $20,000 pool cue. People always ask why, how can it be worth that much money? How could it be? But they have it broken down to such a science. And they do everything so perfect with such perfection in such a certain way that it takes so much time that it is worth that much because they put so much effort and thought into it. And that's kind of what the military wants you to do. From the way we make our beds to the way you, handle the weapons, to the way you just do everything. So I credit everything I've learned and have done here so far with the pool world. I really do. So.
Well, and you told me something about probably when you're done with this chapter, looking into getting to doing some leather work and making leather cases.
Yeah, so the last time I really fully when I was doing cues on my own in Las Vegas, about a year ago, before I moved, I was starting to get into some leather work. So obviously I have experience doing leather work a little bit from pool cues, doing leather wraps, the tips are leather, um, doing stacked leather wraps, which I'm sure you've seen a couple pictures of the ones I did, or I used to float them all over Facebook. They're very popular, the colorful, different designs, stained and dyed and inlaid and all kind of stuff. So leather wraps have always been like one of the absolute hardest things to do on a pool cue. The traditional leather wraps, you got to have the seam really tight and height it. It's got to be straight and tight and smooth. And the transitions where the clear coat meets the wrap, and the thickness, it's got to have a consistent thickness around the handle of the cue, and the way you sand it and finish it and make it look, and the texture which it feels in your hand. Leather wraps have just always been like one of the hardest things like to do on pool cues. So me struggling with it so much, I feel like I've gotten to the point where I'm pretty good at it. And I guess that is me getting good at it has sparked my interest in leatherworking, trying to become good at it, right? So right before I quit making cues, I was starting to buy old pool cue cases. I was starting to do some shoe repair. I was cleaning. There was a few gentlemen that frequented Griff's in Las Vegas. They had some really high-end exotic dress shoes and things of that nature that I was starting to repair and clean and tidy up and just practice different methods and things. So yeah, one day when I get back into cue making after the Army, I would like to maybe take like a year and go work for a saddle maker or do like an apprenticeship with some type of leather worker and get even more experience doing leather work. That way I could transfer that into building my own custom cue cases and repairing cases. So I can make like nice, fancy, high-end cases to sell with the pool cues that I make, in the future. So that's one of my plans.
So that Tandy Leather Company,
Mhm.
they do classes. So
Yeah, I've seen that.
yeah, you might, probably nothing as exotic as building a cue or building a saddle, but they probably teach you how to tool leather and cut it and sew it, and so.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. And I have a few ideas as far as just wraps and leather wraps to do on cues that I don't believe I've seen anybody do before. A lot of people don't realize cue making has only been around, less than 100 years as far as the art of making a high-end two-piece custom cue. And some of the very first high-end custom cues, they weren't around till the 50s, 60s, when stuff started really getting fancy and inlays and dots and wraps and leather. And the cue makers nowadays, like you've seen at the ICCS show and the pictures, they're doing some amazing, crazy stuff, and they're doing stuff that nobody's ever seen before, especially with the help of CNC machines and the internet. Having access to so much information and how to do things and where to look and how to get inspiration. But I believe I have a few ideas that have never been done before so far. So hopefully I get to execute those before somebody else figures those out.
Well, I've got an open invitation to come down to go to Houston and go visit Richard Black, and I would like to do that before it's too late. It's just getting away to go down there and do it.
I understand.
And it's just me now. So, well,
Richard,
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say Richard. He's one I've never been to his shop, and I would love to. But he's been making cues almost as long as anybody. He was one of the first very successful, most famous cue makers, and he's been making cues that have been selling for upwards of $250,000. I'm sure you've seen pictures, but we're at this weird point in time in the cue world where the founding forefathers of cue making, such as Richard Black, Ernie Gutierrez, Jerry Franklin Southwest, he passed a long time ago, but Dave Jacoby just passed. Bill Schick, who's one of the original greats, started Scrimshaw and fancy cues, a lot of ivory work. all kinds of cue makers have just been, they're getting to the age, that era where they're just all dying off left and right, unfortunately. So it's kind of, there's a lot of room opening up for these new cue makers. And a lot of them are making, big splashes and coming out with really hot stuff. Especially on Facebook, guys like Shelby Williams, Larry Vigas, Pete Tonkin, who's one of the best cue builders in the world right now. A lot of them guys, they're all pushing the envelope and doing really crazy, cool stuff that's never been done before. But yeah, you should definitely take the opportunity to go see Richard's shop if you can.
I sure will. I sure will. May try to do it before school starts back. Have to go back to work.
Mhm.
Well, Austin, man, I appreciate you giving us another
Yeah.
shot. I've got this recorded, nobody interrupted. So
Yeah, no problem.
man, I wish, like I said, I wish you the best of luck. I wish you a real a good career in the Army. I hope they treat you well. Guys, if you enjoy content like this, give us a thumbs up, hit that like button and subscribe, and then leave a comment and let us know how we're doing. And we'll see y'all next time on the Fooling Around Show. Austin?
I'll see you later, Chris.
All right, take care.
Bye.